Hello there and welcome to Check It Out, your monthly Bethel Park Library show. I'm Mary.
And I'm Ing, and we are with you today on the day after the November 4th, 2008 presidential election. And we're going to get right down to what everyone is waiting for. We're here at Kalchthaler Mullen campaign headquarters, and despite what you may have heard on CNN or MSNBC or other places, we actually have the results, the final tabulations, well, so far, of what has been going on and what you have decided, you, the American public. And Miss Elaine is our official campaign manager.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Miss Elaine.
So what do the numbers look like so far?
Well, it looks like the Democratic candidate is coming in at 62,992,553.
Okay, so a little less than 63 million. Couldn't make that 63 million mark. All right, and how about another challenger?
And it looks like we have the Republican candidate coming in at 55,796,823.
Again, just shy of 56 million, so not quite there.
Okay.
And what about Mary and Ing, the Kalchthaler Mullen campaign?
Mary and Ing are coming in at 7
billion. 7 billion?
Actually,
Seven.
I think she's...
But,
7.
as you may know, I'm sure you know, Indiana is still calculating their votes.
And we're big
You
in
have
Indiana.
North Carolina.
I mean, we are Indiana. I have a Notre Dame bumper sticker on my car. I visited there like 3 times. So I think that's probably going to come through for us, Indiana. And what was the other state you said?
North Carolina as well as Missouri.
Don't you have relatives in North
Well,
Carolina?
my future daughter-in-law is in North Carolina, living
Okay.
there. So
Okay, so we're envisioning probably, I mean, let's just say it. I mean, we don't mean to, but we're probably going to take Indiana and North Carolina. And what was the other state?
Missouri.
Missouri, which is the show me state. And we show people things. And so, and we're very persuasive. So I'm thinking these last 3 states are going to go to us. There are a lot of people in those states. A lot of people have moved from the rest of the country to there. And I think we can come out ahead. And the big factor, though, is what have we not heard from at all yet? Guam. We have not heard from Guam.
That's true.
And as they say, as Guam goes, there goes the country. And as we all know, we are huge in Guam. Huge.
Huge.
And
So you never give up hope.
never give up hope. And thanks to you, all the voters, all the supporters out there, all our fans in show business. And,
I guess we're not making our concession speech.
we are not going to make our
Okay.
concession
All right.
speech. That
Not
is
yet, huh?
There is no
Not yet.
reason with Indiana, with North Carolina, with Missouri, and Guam out there.
We might get all the way up to 10.
We may.
We might.
We
And,
may. So
you know, I am curious about the crazy 7 people who did cast a
well,
who are they?
I don't know. Well, it's a secret ballot.
It is a
so,
secret ballot. That's
you know,
very true.
Certainly, there's me and you, and my parents aren't registered, so it's not really happening.
I hope you only voted once, Ms.
I only
Ing.
voted once.
All right,
I did.
that's
I tried
good.
to go up and pretend that I was my grandmother who's gone to her rest, but didn't work out
no.
for
We
me.
they
So it's a
you
small
know,
district.
We do frown on that kind of.
Right,
no,
no,
we
I
have
did.
none of that.
I
None
did,
of that.
no.
Okay.
Well, has this been fun for you? Have you enjoyed working on the campaign?
Loads of fun, and thank you so much for having me on the show
And remember,
today.
your son Robert kicked it all off for us.
He did.
When we
That's
began our
That's right.
campaign, by he
That's
sang
right.
"You're a Grand Old Flag,"
Mm-hmm.
and that's still on our website. You can check that out
Check it
too,
out
Bethel Park.
anytime. Yeah.
Check it out. .blogspot.com. Thank you,
Great.
Miss Elaine.
Thank you, and good luck to
So
you, Beth.
thank you very much. There'll
Thank
be a
you,
place
Miss
for you
Elaine.
in our cabinet.
Tri-Community South EMS needs your help. Renew your Tri-Community South resident or business subscription today. Your subscription provides the funds necessary for us to operate Tri-Community South. Your subscriptions cover emergencies 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Although owned and operated by the municipality of Bethel Park and townships of South Park and Upper St. Clair, Tri-Community South EMS receives no monies from the EMS tax, which is an emergency medical service tax. Tri-Community South the leading community training center for the American Heart Association in the North Atlantic region, provides training in CPR, AEDs, canine CPR, ACLS, and PALS. You can subscribe or pay your account online by going to www.tcsems.org, or you can still renew your subscription by mail. Tri-Community South EMS is Allegheny County's only CAS-accredited EMS. Residents and business subscribers to Tri-Community South EMS are who make this internationally recognized service possible. Without your subscription, we would be unable to provide top quality emergency medical care or provide the service.
Welcome back to Check It Out.
Even though we have the exciting election news, we know we'll just wait to see what the results are. We have to roll on with the show as it is now. So let's just pretend like everything's normal.
Okay.
Okay.
That will take some pretending.
Normal,
with us.
big
Normal.
pretending,
Okay,
normal.
Well,
Okay.
we have lots of guests today, so
Lots of guests.
we're going to give you kind of the abridged schedule for November. We have lots of good programs coming up. But,
Yeah, what's going on,
We're going to go
sister?
through pretty quick. Well, of course, we
Okay.
have our movies for the mind.
Absolutely.
Did you enjoy 310 to Yuma, the Western?
I did enjoy 310 to Yuma. It was very good. There was a lot of Western stuff in it. It was good.
Was good.
Russell Crowe was in it, who I don't like all that much. I'd seen him the night before in Body of Lies with Leonardo DiCaprio, which I really liked.
Did you like that
But
movie?
yeah, I liked 310 to Yuma. It was very good.
All right. Well, we will be back in December with our movies for the minds on December 7th at 6 o'clock. And I understand you guys select. So I go out of town, and you
Mary was
selected
off at the wedding shower.
I was, but you selected a movie I want to see. And I'm
Oh,
so
good!
pleased.
I'm glad. Yeah,
I'm so pleased.
I asked the folks who come if they wanted to, take it a little lighter, because it's the Christmas holiday season,
Okay.
rather, and they decided on There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood,
So,
starring Daniel Day-Lewis, one of my favorite actors. I really like him, and that will be on December 7th at 6 o'clock. So come and join us for food and discussion and everything else. Okay, next week we have a reverse mortgage program. That's for senior homeowners over the age of 62, and that will be Monday, November 10th at 10:30 a.m. and just an educational seminar to learn more about the reverse mortgage program. We have our recurring program of eBay, how to buy, sell, and ship on eBay, which is, next Tuesday, November the 11th, from 11 to 2. So if you want to learn all about eBay, what's going on
Very
on eBay.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday evening, we have a presentation by Jerry Angel, who's a
Jerry Angel, how I love him.
And Jerry is a long-term care insurance specialist and healthcare consultant, and she'll be here to answer people's questions.
How I love her.
Questions about long-term care insurance, and that's next Wednesday, November the 12th at 7 p.m. And then we have a program on a week from Friday on November the 14th on health and medical information online, and it's how to find reliable medical information.
Right, not like, rub your head 3 times and squawk like a chicken to alleviate the chicken pox.
Right. There's a lot of good information on the internet, but there's also a lot of information on the internet.
A lot of
and finding separating the good stuff from the bad stuff is not always easy. So that will be Friday, November 14th. That's at 10 a.m. and that has very limited space. So call if you're interested. We have a tax issues seminar Tuesday, November 18th. Presented by H&R Block, and this is to help you understand tax laws to maximize your tax position, which must mean we want to not pay a lot of taxes, right?
Well, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Okay. You want to pay more taxes?
I wouldn't mind paying more taxes if, I don't want to get political.
Okay,
it's
enough politics, okay. And then also on the same day, on Tuesday, November the 18th, we have a wellness talk and an opportunity for a free massage. Have you ever had a massage?
I've never had a massage.
I have not had one either.
It kind of creeps me out. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know why.
Okay, but this is presented by the Scott Medical Center, and they're going to do a free seminar on how to live a healthier life, and then people that come can get a free massage.
And it's, I mean, everybody's gonna be having their clothing on and everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely missing.
All right.
Tuesday, November 18th at 11:30.
All right.
So, and of course, we have
Sounds
all our
good.
regular monthly programs. So
Everything, laughter club,
all the good
pinochle,
stuff. Pinochle, knitters, book clubs, all kinds of
everything.
things. Everything. Okay, so tell us
Awesome.
what's going on with the kids department.
Yeah, here's the deal. On Halloween, we printed out about 500 Halloween cards, and we gave them to staff and to some patrons.
I didn't get one.
And they gave them out. You were gone. You were at Texas at the thing.
Oh, man.
We gave them bundles, hundreds of these, and they
Okay.
gave them out with the trick-or-treat candy. And so the front said, maybe you got them, Happy Halloween from the Bethel Park Public Library. And the inside said, there are more treats to come. And it had our November and December programs.
Clever.
And then the back had a little hand, and if you haven't turned yours in, you still can. Color it in your fall colors, and we're making a turkey. Nancy McLaughlin had some stuffed in her mailbox the other day, all colored up and everything.
What a great idea.
But she hadn't read the back when she handed it out, and so she was kind of scared why there were these little hands stuffed into her mailbox. But now she's really excited, so it was nice. So I'll just use this as my guide. Coming up, we have an American Girl Sunday, November 16th and December 21st at 2 o'clock. 6 science, lots of gross experiments for those in grades 1 through 5 on November 18th. That's a Tuesday night at 7. Bingo, bingo, bingo. More fun than regular bingo. Prizes too. Friday, November 21st, 4:30. It's for grades K through 2. And on November 15th, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, the weekend night of wheels. Matchbox, NASCAR, Hot Wheels, all kinds of crazy things. Another one of our insane after-hours programs. Crafty Kids, hand-on craft activity, Monday, November 24th and December 15th at 7. Holiday ornament making, Tuesday, December 2nd at 7 o'clock. And, just mark this on your calendars, we'll mention this again in December, holiday story time with a visit from you-know-who and a play starring me and Miss Mary, of course. We're your
I'm afraid
stars.
to ask what this play
It's gonna be great.
I don't know.
We don't have it yet.
We don't
but
have
it's
it
gonna
yet.
be
All
great.
right. Okay.
And that's it. Gingerbread House Workshop, December 20th, all day from 1 to 4. And that's it. That's what we got going on. And we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Hello, my name's George Tracy, and I'm the adjutant of Bethel American Legion Post 760, located at 2409 Bethel Church Road here in Bethel Park. The post is fortunate to have over 800 members who reside in the Bethel Park area. That membership consists of regular American Legion members, Sons of the Legion, Legion Auxiliary, social members, and members of the Marine Corps South Hills Detachment 726 of the Marine Corps Legion. The Post is a non-charitable organization, and we're involved in numerous activities throughout the year, including but not limited to school awards, scouting awards, community events, ceremonies and parades, military organization events, ceremonies and parades, Americanism and Citizenship awards and activities, other numerous youth activities, and military ceremonial and funerals. Like others, we face increased costs and either stable or decreasing revenues, which make it difficult for us to continue our programs on a successful basis. I'm addressing this message to those of you who, for a variety of reasons, have either stopped in the post very seldom or maybe never. It would benefit us greatly if each of you could stop by even once a month. It would make a tremendous difference in our activities and our abilities to continue our programs. Thank you for your support. We hope to see you soon, and God bless our troops.
Welcome back to Check It Out. Here to introduce our very special guest, but she is a very well-known guest, Randi Morgan, our our foreign correspondent and our cultural correspondent is here today, and we're so delighted to have you back again, Randi. So what do you have to share with us today?
3 things, a couple of books and an exhibit I went to.
Great.
I'll start by talking about, well, actually, I haven't finished this book, but it's very good so far. And part of the appeal of it is just the title, Crisis Pursued by Disaster, Followed Closely by Catastrophe.
That could be mine. It could be any of us, any given day, right?
It's true. But this is a memoir of a guy who became a journalist, an investigative journalist. And he feels that the biggest reason he became an investigative journalist because his parents' life was always a mystery. They were always on the run, and he never knew why, nor did his sisters. And it wasn't until after they died that he began to dig into it to try and find out why. But they were taking off from Mexico in the middle of the night, and so, you know, moving, and they seemed like really decent people, and very much in love, but very secretive. So anyway, the only clue to what might be at the root of this mystery here is that on the back of the book it says that this is a poignant American saga that has its roots in time when the country was intoxicated by fear, the McCarthy era.
Oh, okay.
All
So
right.
So
we'll have to wait till you finish reading
Yeah.
Yes,
to
yes.
find out their secret.
how did you hear about the book, or did you just pick it up because of the cover?
I did. I was saying
Absolutely.
there are times when I feel like I can't judge a book by its cover. There are certain
Absolutely.
books I know I don't want to read, and some are so intriguing. I
Right.
have to read them. But and this is a new book. It just came across the desk when I was working at the library, and I thought, this looks good.
Cool.
So, and so far it is. I'm about a third of the way into it. And but the book that I want to rave about is this. This is Miracle in the Andes by Nando Parrado. And I have to say that I listened to it on CD on my iPod after my son told me how to do it. This was just one of the most wonderful experiences I've had in a long time. This is about the Uruguayan rugby team that crashed in the Andes in the 1970s. And everybody remembers it for the cannibalism, because they had to eat the bodies of their dead fellow passengers in order to survive. And they had to survive 72 days in sub-zero weather in the Andes Mountains. This was a rugby team wearing their shorts and tennis shoes and no winter clothing. Half of the plane slid down the mountain. Those who survived were in the upper half, and many of those people had injuries so severe that they died a few days after the crash. Excuse me. The author's mother had been in the rear of the plane, so he knew she was gone, or assumed it. His sister was in the front half of the plane with him, but she died in his arms a few days after they crashed. And he had a fractured skull, not to mention various other injuries, but he could feel the softness in his head. One of the reasons I recommend listening to it on tape or CD is that you hear the author's voice, and he has a wonderful voice. And this is an inspiring story and beautiful. It's a story about survival. It's a story about questioning faith. They're all Catholic. They grow up in Uruguay in a Catholic school. They have to question their faith. Is there a God? And in the end, the author can only say that all he knows is that love is what matters. Love is what kept him going. And as a mother, you relate to his story that, or as a parent, one of the things, the most important thing that kept him going was a story his father told him in his childhood. His father had been a rower and was in a race that was just killing him, and he was ready to give up. And he was saying to himself, I don't have to win this race. There'll be other races. And he looked across at his competitor and saw the same anguish and pain in his face. And he realized that if he could keep doing it, he could keep doing it. And so he'd say, one more stroke, one more stroke. And he had told the story to his son. And that story kept his son going. In the mountains, he'd say, one more breath, one more breath. Now, Ing, I know you listened to it.
I did. I listened to it last weekend and on your recommendation, and I just thought it was wonderful. I thought like many of you might be thinking, I'd already read Alive, which was the first story that came out, book that came out shortly after it happened, I guess, and seen the movie, and I thought, well, it can't be much different, but it is quite different. And you were saying your son was
He loved the movie.
Hooked on the movie, right?
When he was in high school.
And I mean, if you loved it and enjoyed it, you still will love and enjoy this, but it's just, it's a totally different take on it. It's a much more personal story, and this gentleman's writing it how many years after?
About 30.
30 years after, and so
Yeah.
he has a lot more perspective on what happened and to
Right.
think about it, and so it is definitely worth. Don't think that you already know the story just because you might have heard you've heard all the graphic stuff about the cannibalism and whatnot. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic book,
Yeah.
and you're right. Hearing his voice is just something really neat
You
about
want
that
to go
too.
meet the guy in person.
I know, yeah,
And he
yeah.
does do inspirational talks.
Right.
That's what got him started on writing this book. After turning down invitations to talk for a long time, he finally accepted one invitation, and he was supposed to motivate a group of salespeople.
That's right.
And he ended up telling his story, and the talk took a completely different turn. And people rushed up to him afterwards, and they were so moved.
Yeah.
And he could see that what he had done was help them through his story. And so he kept on giving these talks, and then finally wrote this book.
Does he talk about the original book at all? Does he have a?
He does.
He does. Yeah.
What are his feelings about?
He describes it as a fine documentary.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
says it's a wonderful book, and
Okay.
He does have a few differences with the characterization of a few people. He's so empathetic, at least now,
right.
with his fellow passengers, some of whom may have, well, for example, one guy just gave up. He couldn't eat human flesh anymore. And he just, after staying alive for a long time, he just stopped. Apparently, one of the characters may have been depicted as less than courageous. Did you get that feeling?
Right.
And he disputes that.
And
he
he
knows
said
that
that-
everybody did what they could.
Right. He said that when he was interviewed for Alive, he was a young guy then, and he said, like, especially with one man, he said he felt he was pretty harsh in his assessment of him,
Yeah.
and he said things that he wished he wouldn't have. And now looking back, he's glad he has the opportunity to sort of give a new take on it now after the years have gone.
He's older. He has a different perspective.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
as you said, many of us do become more empathetic as we age.
Right.
Well, and he also recognizes that the things he didn't like in that guy, that he was so critical of, were things he was afraid of in himself.
Right.
And when you see somebody acting out what you're afraid of in yourself, you just hate that.
That's true.
And you could see now with the time that that was the case. But it's such a phenomenal story of love. It really is.
It is.
So I highly recommend it.
It's a great book.
Those are two really very different, very interesting choices.
Oh, and before I forget, I also read a wonderful book called The Rescue Artist. The author is Edward Dolnick. And it's about the theft of the Scream Munch's painting during the Oslo Olympics. And but mostly it's about the guy who's on the hunt to find it. And what a character he is. So that's another book I recommend, The Rescue Artist by Edward Dolnick.
Great.
Great.
And you have an exhibit to
Yesterday I
talk
went
about?
out to the Society for Contemporary Craft, which is in the Strip District, 2100 Smallman Street. That's right at Smallman and 21st Street. And it's free. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5. And through January 10th, they have this exhibit, the Enamel Experience, and then another exhibit along with it called Tag. Just to read a little bit about it. Inspired by an extensive badge collection at the Museum der Arbeit in Germany, artists from the UK, the United States, and Germany are featured in the Enamel Experience at the Society for Contemporary Craft through January 10th. And this international traveling exhibition, circulated by the University of West England, is presented in conjunction with this exhibit of small medals by graduate students at East Carolina University. But these pieces of jewelry, brooches for the most part, are inspired by badges in a German badge museum. but they're very contemporary takes on it. This, for instance, is Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and hanging underneath is stress positioning, dehumanization, sleep deprivation, physical training, and humiliation. It's a takeoff on the kind of a badge a military person might wear, but here it's like a badge if you were at Guantanamo and you'd done those things.
Interesting.
I'm going to also show some, or we'll insert some photographs into this from the exhibit. But it's really fun. The thing about the Society for Contemporary Craft is you're usually seeing very cutting-edge art in clay or ceramics or metalsmithing. So these are not this isn't at all the kind of jewelry you're going to find at a jewelry store. And it's much of it is just so delightful. And then the other reason I like to go there is they have a fabulous gift shop.
All right, I love the gift shop angle.
Yeah, so you can buy one-of-a-kind pieces or pieces that are very limited in edition. Furniture, handmade scarves, beautiful ceramics, and lots of jewelry. A great place to go Christmas shopping, and especially if you want to buy something that's made in America. You know, buy something from one of the local artists when you shop there, and you're supporting American industry.
That's right. That sounds good.
It might cost a little bit more because these are all.
But you're getting a unique item, a
They're
one,
not
one,
only unique,
absolute,
they're-
one of a kind.
Since I've been taking jewelry making classes, I know how labor intensive they are.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Cool.
So I highly recommend that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
You're
you,
welcome.
I'm
Randy.
so glad you came back.
We missed you. Yes, we
Do
did.
not let it be so long next time.
Right.
So,
Great.
yeah.
Great. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Welcome to BPTV, your home of the HD revolution. There's never been a better time to join us at BPTV and make the shows you want to watch. Maybe there's a special event you'd like to see, or a sport you want to see on TV. BPTV, you can use our equipment to make you look like a pro. BPTV, you can make almost anything you can imagine. Maybe you'd like to come to our studios and film a talk show, or go on location, film an action-adventure movie or comedy movie, which will help you put up on YouTube or Google Video, or even burn your own DVDs. So join us at BPTV, the Pulse of Bethel Park. We're waiting for you.
Hey, and we're back on Check It Out. Today is just so much fun. I know you're having probably even more fun than at home than we are having here, but we are having a heck of a lot of fun. I'm Miss Ing, this is Miss Mary, and in between us today, we have a very special friend of mine and a very special guest, Ms. Autumn Redcross. And she moved from Mount Lebanon to Swickley, and I'm very excited that she did because I never would have met you if you still lived in Mount Lebanon.
I'm glad we moved.
And I'm glad you moved. And so there you are. And here you are. And today you're going to talk to us about a subject that is really big here, especially in Bethel and pretty much everywhere. And that is genealogy, researching the whole family tree
Right.
thing. Yes.
I have become a genealogist and family historian, and that's actually where I got my interest in history. And today I come to you as not myself, but as my great-grandmother, Susie Peeler. And Susie Peeler was very old-fashioned when she came to live with her grandchildren in 1930. And she wore one of those long dresses, one of those skirts that came all the way down to the floor.
And you have this on. Autumn really does
I
have a
do.
long to the floor dress here.
And she wore an apron with her outfit every time she dressed for the day, whether she used it or not. And she would wear a bonnet that had a long bib on the back, like mine, and that was sort of her signature piece.
Oh, yeah.
And I made all these things
You made
thinking
these?
about her, yes, so I could get into her character and get to know her a little bit. But Susie Peeler was born in 1861,
Okay.
probably, and she died in 1934
Okay.
in Washington County, Georgia.
Okay. Was she born in Washington County, Georgia, too? And then passed away there? Spent her whole life in South.
She was born in Hancock County,
Okay.
actually,
Okay.
it looks like.
Yeah.
And I know all this because I get the records. I see the documentation of her life.
Okay.
And that's how I'm able to track her existence through time.
Amazing. Now, how do you have anybody, or did you speak to anybody in your family that was still living that knew her?
I did.
Okay.
I did, and that was an interesting story. I actually, during my research and search, I contacted the Historical Society in Washington County. And when they sent me a book, a page of a book with Susie Peeler and Tump Peeler at the top of the page, this, description of lineage, I was so excited because that was my Susie and Tump, or so I thought. But it was actually, there was a takeaway to it because my great-grandfather was not included as Susie and Tump's Peeler in this document, in this book that was recently written in the 90s. So I started to search for the evidences that they had putting together that genealogy, and by contacting the author and finding out where she was getting her information from, it led me to a family member who knew Susie Peeler.
Neat.
And it's her who described Susie Peeler to me, and it's her who I got this outfit idea from, because that's what she said. She said Susie, her grandmother, it's her grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, was very old-fashioned when she came to live with them, and that she was very young and they had never seen anyone like her with all her old-fashioned clothing. So that was just thrilling for me. And she's actually named after her grandmother. So when we started to correspond, and anytime she'd call me, I'd see Susie Peeler on my caller ID, which was just a hoot for me.
Right.
But yeah, I got a lot of information, and I got that connection to family that we didn't have before. Because the situation was that my cousin Susie didn't know my great-grandfather and Susie Peeler's first son, because he died before she was born. He died tragically in 1921.
Okay.
So when Susie was called to recall all of her aunts and uncles, he was not on the register because they never talked about him.
Right.
And she didn't know him as a child. But so then the search became a quest for documentation to prove that this book was wrong and that I was in fact related, and that my great-grandfather was a part of the family, being Susie Peeler's son.
And he'd just been taken out because he died.
He'd been taken out because the people who were telling the story didn't know him.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so you were able to put one of your long ago family members back into the family tree. Put them back on the tree. That's cool.
It is cool because none of us existed. None of his descendants existed in their minds.
Oh yes,
so
you
Walter
just added
Peeler,
a whole.
He married and had 4 kids, right? So,
Right.
And one of his 4 kids was my grandfather. So all of us, none of us existed to them until now.
It's really
A whole branch is sort of missing from your family tree.
Yeah, and it just increases as you go down exponentially. It's really interesting.
What got you interested in this? What made, and when?
Actually, several years ago, my husband Wade and I were thinking about adopting, or I was probably thinking about it more than he was. And I had gone to a few of the classes, and I was at the point where I had to begin to look at agencies. And one of the brochures that I brought home was called Rainbow Adoption. And I thought that it was a nice sounding name, it could be multicultural, nice kids could come from Rainbow Adoption Agency.
Right.
And I called them up, and they said, well, are you Native American? And I said, well, no, but my last name is Redcross. And they said, well, do you have a tribal number? And I thought that just sounded so archaic to me, like tribal number. I had never
Yeah.
heard of anything like
Right,
that.
right.
And they explained that they were a Native American adoption agency, and that Native American adopt only within themselves, first to their own family, their clan, and then outside to other Native Americans. And for me to be considered, favorably considered, then or seriously considered, we'd have to be able to prove any Native American heritage that we had.
Okay.
So I got off the phone and I got back on the phone trying to figure out, well, what's up with the Redcross? Is it a Native American name?
Right, right.
And
Did you find out that it was?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Is it a Native? It is?
It is.
Wow,
It is
okay,
a Native
yeah.
American name. Yep.
Were you able, I just know you didn't because I know your kids are, Ari and Parker and Levi, but would you be able to adopt a Native American child from Rainbow, or you couldn't get the
I would.
number? Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
I didn't
that's
get
fine.
the number.
Yeah, yeah,
But
okay.
because the tribe that we would have applied to, they closed their books
Okay.
for a period
okay.
of time. I don't know. They do this thing, and I think they're very protective and selective now
Okay.
because it's very convenient to claim that lineage with all the benefits that could come from it. So
I see.
they're very
Okay. Right, right.
sort
Yeah.
of protective.
They don't
which
want
I guess
somebody
they should be.
adopting a child for the wrong reasons.
Or and they don't want families who never had any connection to that lineage suddenly getting, only applying for the benefits,
Right.
like
okay.
college tuition.
Right, right,
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, so it actually started then with you researching your husband's name, and then you just kind of caught the genealogy bug. And
Yeah, then I thought I should do my own.
That's cool. Have you discovered anything else interesting or other things that have happened? Or
Something that happened earlier this year was that I actually found and contacted and then found that it was true that a family, I'm in contact with Susie Peeler's ancestors, or her husband's ancestors, slave-owning family.
with the family who
Who
owns Susie Peeler's ancestors?
who owned her husband, her
Wow.
husband's ancestors.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't imagine how that would feel. What that would be like.
It's actually been a great experience.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
There's a great connection between me and there's a woman named Anne, I want to say Tillman, Chimley. I have to get it right. I'll call you up.
Okay.
But they've been very gracious and very generous with information, and they've gone out their way to seek out information for me.
Okay. I should hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the least thing. I mean, it's serious.
Well, you
but,
never know.
But I understand. You
how
never know.
someone's gonna respond. And
Right.
that was interesting the way it happened. It sort of happened on a whim. Also, same connection with the Historical Society. I happened to call down there one day, and it was apparently the right day, and I asked about a berry peeler because I see this berry peeler in records,
Mm-hmm.
who was a minister, and you don't see too many peelers. So I was talking to the person at the Historical Society, just mentioned, Barry Peeler, do you know anything about him? And she said, there's a family who researches the peeler tree, and she gave me their number. And I called them up, and they talked to me about Barry Peeler, and then they said, could I ask what your interest is? And I said, well, I think that Barry Peeler may have owned my ancestors,
Okay.
because I didn't see other peelers in the county, and because Barry Peeler was a minister, and so was Tump, Susie Peeler's husband. He was a
Right,
minister,
right.
and I thought that maybe he gained his inspiration somehow from Barry.
Right. Right.
And at first, the reaction, I didn't know until that moment that there were actually two people on the phone and not just one.
Oh, okay.
And the man spoke up, and Barry Peeler was a God-fearing citizen who,
Right. Right.
he ministered in the war, on the Confederate side.
Right. Right.
But I've never known him to own any slaves, and his wife, who doesn't have that blood,
Right. Right.
his wife said, Tillman, everyone had a farm back then. I'm sure he
Okay.
had a farm.
Yeah.
And so he, you know, relaxed and was able to go with the idea. It was just an idea. And I said, I think that it probably may have been a somewhat good relationship because Tom was a minister.
Right, right.
And actually during that conversation, she found some records that their family had researched that included the name of Tump's father.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and she sent those right to me, and
Wow.
and everything that she's, you know, found from this point, she sent just documentation on their family, because in African American genealogy, once you identify a slave owner, you have to then begin to research that slave owning family
Okay.
and their interactions, their purchases,
Oh
and their
my
sales.
goodness. So that's
Yeah, so you have to start to do the double work.
I was gonna say you have a double job.
Right.
Right, because you're looking for any clue, and the documentation would only be, you know, in mortgages or
right,
sales
right.
and purchases. So
Yeah.
yeah,
My
so
goodness.
so they've been very generous, and they found for me. We found out that Barry Peeler apparently sent Randolph Tump Peeler with his son to another county, to Wilkinson County, Georgia, and there he started a church for his colors. And maybe at the time it may have just been a place outside, you know, a tree stump, you know, the edge of the road type of situation. But the church is standing today.
Wow.
So, and the Shamleys didn't know anything about it, and
Yeah.
because they had another cousin who was a little bit more familiar with the history of this son who went there, and they drove out there because they're in Georgia, and they drove out there and took pictures of it. So I have pictures of, it's called the Peeler Chapel,
How
and it's a black
neat.
church, and it was deeded to some black folks about 1902.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our name, like our names, Randolph and my family names, aren't anywhere on the deed or anywhere in their history, but that would have been, you know, 40 years after the fact. But it's standing, you know, it's a one-room little back southern church.
Right,
It's called
right.
Peeler Chapel. And I
Wow.
called them up and they said, we always wondered why it was named Peeler Chapel.
Oh, that's so neat. That is. It's amazing how then you get connected with other people and they have a part of the story and you have a part of the story, and it comes together like a puzzle. That's neat. Do you, you know, there's a lot of organizations and stuff, like there's, you know, different genealogical societies. Have you done this mostly on your own, or have you sought out the help of an organization or anything like that? Or?
Organizations, we sort of work like, there's a lot of networking and there's a lot of support. You can ask questions of one another. Sometimes people have better ideas or experiences that they could guide you towards.
Okay.
So I say that to say that by joining an organization like the African American Historical and Genealogical Society, which meets at the Homewood Library once a month.
Okay, which is a gorgeous library.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness,
yeah.
gorgeous. Okay.
Yeah, it's very helpful. It's very, you know, there's a lot of camaraderie, and
Okay, okay, and
But-
they've helped you.
yeah,
You
like
all work together.
yeah, well,
Yeah, on your stuff.
yeah, sometimes it's fruitful, sometimes it's, like, I can say, hey, I'm looking for Rosa Dixon, looks like she was born about 1885, I can't find anything for her, and they might
Right.
say, well, did you try the Social Security index, you
Right,
know,
right, yeah.
or, yeah, that type of stuff. But they don't necessarily, you know, get down on their knees, or if they're
Right,
able to.
right, yeah.
But then, again, you can send out to other, the sister organizations in
Cool.
Georgia, which we have, and see if there's a reply.
Right, that's neat, yeah. And can people get in contact with you? I know you have a Facebook. If people have questions, can they look you up on Facebook?
Absolutely can.
Very cool. And we actually have a Facebook for our show now. Two of our students that work here, Kathleen Sig and Nicholas Colarosa, have developed a Facebook. So we will friend you, and then, or you can just, if you don't want to be a friend of the show, you can just go directly to Autumn Redcross. But we hope you'll be a friend of Autumn and the show. And so we'll have a link on our website.
Okay.
That's cool. That's great. And I just wanted to, and you didn't tell me to do this or anything, this has nothing to do, but I remember, if you remember a couple months ago, we got a copy of this awesome book, African Americans in the Swickley Valley, by Betty Cole and Autumn Redcross. Oh yeah, here we are. And Autumn Redcross. So, excellent book, and this whole series is fantastic, but especially if you have any ties to the, Swickley area or, African Americans in Western Pennsylvania in general, very interesting. These Images of America, was that an easy group to work with there, did you find? Because we see these a lot, there's not one for Bethel Park, and that's when we talked about this book, we thought, get out there, folks, and somebody should be doing one on Bethel Park,
There's a lot of history in the Bethel Park area. I
don't know why they don't have one of these books. Get one of the books.
Maybe.
There you go, yeah. Seriously. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And there's a link to that on our website, too. Well, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Fascinating.
And your son, Levi, he was on the Saturday Light Brigade this past weekend doing some juggling.
He was.
And so maybe we can get him on here to do some juggling. I would want him to
That would be
do
great. I've been thinking about trying to do a juggling laughter exercise for Laughter Club. That'd be fun.
Mary's an official laughter leader.
Really?
I am.
Yes.
I am.
Laughter Club meets here on the third Monday of every month at 11 o'clock in the council chambers. It's bizarre, but it's fun. A lot of fun. I mean, it's fun. I don't mean that in a bad. I mean, you know me. I love the bizarre.
And the other interesting thing is that our own genealogy study group meets the third Monday of the month in the evening. Now, our the facilitator for the group, Ann New, has an injury. So
yeah, she was injured. It was a sports injury, I think.
No, I don't know if it's a sports injury, but the group may be suspended until after the first of the year. So if you've been coming regularly, check with us. And if this little discussion has inspired you, give us a call, and we'll get you in touch with Ann New, and we put you on her little list. And when she gets back to her regular self, you can come and join the study group, because it's open to novice genealogists and to experienced genealogists. And the idea is to bring the two together so that they can learn from each other. So,
cool.
Great. Thank you,
All right,
Autumn.
we'll be back. Thank you.
So long.
Hey, what a fantastic show. Wasn't that awesome, dude?
We did. It was a great show. I enjoyed both of our guests.
Good
They were
times,
just
yeah.
wonderful.
Many thanks to Autumn Redcross and Randy Morgan, and a big thank you to Al's Restaurant, Rod Ambrogi, owner. We have been doing puppet shows throughout the county, and our stage broke and died and was mashed. What did we do? I wrote a letter to Al's Cafe, to Mr. Rod Ambrogi. He gave me a call and said, I don't care how much it is, whatever, $500 or more. You just come on down, we will do it for you, because we want to help the kids in this community. Okay. And I love that man, and I love Al's Cafe. Thank you, Al's Cafe.
Shout
and
out to
thank
Al.
you, friends, big shout out to Al's, for all you do for us. And remember, it's not over till Guam says it's over.
All right. Hey, we'll see you next time.
Oh, Mr. Shurin, what brings you to this dump of a place? I mean, you're a big shot these days, huh?
Well, I just came down here to visit one of my favorite baristas.
I hate when you come into my store acting like that. I hate being called that.
Aaron, that's the name of your job position, a barista. You serve coffee to people.
Touche, touche. So what are you drinking this morning?
I'll have a grande decaf coffee, please.
A grande decaf coffee? Are you feeling all right today? I mean, you got a little case of the cold turkey? That's something you never get that stuff. What's up?
I haven't had a mocha in 3 days. Well, actually, 3 days, 8 hours, 32 minutes.
I understand where you're coming from. Just remember, I'm on the same side. I understand where you're coming from. Just, I apologize.
You're right. I'm sorry about that, Aaron. It's just, I haven't been myself lately.
This coffee and stuff for all these years, you can get pretty wired up.
What's the Nemesis mocha?
Well, let's just say it's a little bit dangerous.
Wait, hold on for a moment. Time out, time out, time out. Quit moving, quit moving. You said dangerous?
Okay, well, let me tell you what this stuff can actually do to you, Chardon. See this cup? Well, let's say the Nemesis is in this cup right now. The Nemesis would basically be like acid, and it would eat through this.
Man, I love a good milkshake in the morning.
Oh, man.
Hey, Chardon, how's it going?
I'm grabbing my coffee and leaving.
What? No mocha? You know those mochas get jealous, they'll track you down.
You know what, Tommy? I was having a pleasant day until you opened your mouth.
Whoa, whoa, take a joke, my suit-wearing friend.
I will if the punchline is funny.
Why so serious?
Hey, Tommy, look, he's crazy. You better watch out, you'll get knocked out.
Oh, hey, Aaron, by the way, I forgot to tell you, it just so happens to be that we had enough beans left back there to make one last Nemesis cup.
Nemesis?
That's right, Nemesis.
The FDA banned that stuff. What are you thinking?
Now, Aaron, if you take one good drink of this bad boy, you're going to see just how good it is.
No, I won't.
May I have my coffee, please?
There's your change.
You're kidding. You're all out of quarters?
We are fresh out of quarters. Yes, we are, sir.
I picked the wrong week to quit.
What are you doing with this?
I'm going to sell it.
You're going to sell that?
Yeah.
The FDA banned that stuff from the store.
I don't care.
If we sell that, we're in trouble. Give me that.
Hey, get off the merchandise!
Oh, jeez.
You better scatter, we're
We're
screwed.
busted now. Chardon? Is that you? What are you doing?
Why'd you kill the music?
We don't have music at this place. We never have. Don't you remember?
Oh. Admiring your handiwork.
That's not what I was just gonna ask.
100% healthy.
Obviously, you're a little crazy.
Well, let's try to make heads and tails on the subject.
Look, we ruined your face, kind of ruined your life. We ruined your jacket. You know, I know it was in the cleaners before, but I mean, it's still a nice jacket, and you just can't hold a grudge against us.
Don't hold a grudge.
Right.
Not grudge.
serving justice.
Whoa. Okay, look. Calm down. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, by the way, where's the idiot? Wait, kitchen, right?
Where else would he be?
Halfway home.
If you're so upset about the accident insurance, why don't you just come back and tell me that you're alive, like 5 weeks ago?
Coin kept on laying on heads. Until now.
That's why you flip a coin to decide, isn't it?
It's a 50-50 chance. Just chance and a simple toss. True definition of justice with chance. No corruption, no hard feelings, no personal interest.
I accept responsibility for the actions that I know I did and, Milkshake Boy over there did as well, okay? But look, I apologize for my actions. I mean, if you want, like, say, a free membership card for life, it means you get free coffees and mochas and all that stuff for free. Okay, so would you be interested in that?
No.
Sharon, put the coin down. Let's just talk about...
Hey, Aaron, I need to go to the store and get some more... My goodness, this guy's had way too much time in the sun.
Tommy...
It's a nice extreme makeover you got there, bacon face. Jordan? Wow! I'm glad you're alive.
Half.
I can't believe you just did that.
What's the most you ever lost? Coin toss.
Me?
Knowing someone with your superior intellect should be capable of answering a question of that magnitude.
What question?
Hold that thought.
That's pretty pathetic that you leave your decisions to chance.
The customers are always right.
Welcome to BPTV, your home of the HD revolution. There's never been a better time to join us at BPTV and make the shows you want to watch. Maybe there's a special event you'd like to see, or a sport you want to see on TV. BPTV, you can use our equipment to make you look like a pro. BPTV, you can make almost anything you can imagine. Maybe you'd like to come to our studios and film a talk show, or go on location, film an action-adventure movie or comedy movie, which will help you put up on YouTube or Google Video, or even burn your own DVDs. So join us at BPTV, the Pulse of Bethel Park. We're waiting for you.